Right, so now we all know that certain muscles are hard to train through a full range of motion. The resistance curves on them just isn't that great. Now there are obviously machines which can help this out with changing the angle of insertion on the load as you go through the range of motion, but even still this can sometimes be a challenge. What I'm going to talk about today is how you can use weight combined with the resistance bands to obviously get this arc a lot better through more of a resistance through the entire range of motion. The first thing is biceps, so bicep curls. So the dilemma with a bicep curl is just a standard dumbbell bicep curl, as at the bottom there's very little load. The load obviously increases as you start making your way up on the range. Obviously it peaks with regards, the horizontal forearm angle, because the gravity of the weight is pushing down at its strongest point. And then as you go further up, obviously you lose more again. Now obviously if you want to get more of the long head of biceps, then obviously you can bring in some shoulder flexion, so you're getting a bit of shoulder load in there. But obviously you're getting less through the short head and the brachialis at that time, because the long head obviously is working hard, but you're getting no load at this point because the load is this way. Another issue is I've seen injuries in people where they do get a bit of load going straight down the shaft of the bones of the forearm, which obviously compresses into the joints here, which they're not really designed for that. Obviously that's not going to happen to everyone, and it does depend on a few variables. So what the issue is that you've got a really good peak of load and then it diminishes and it changes. So you're kind of getting a good range of motion generally, but not really a good loaded range of motion. And again, what you want is, in an ideal world with an exercise, is to have the load present fairly equally throughout the whole range of motion, so you're training optimally the whole range, or as much of it as feasibly possible. And this is where the bands can come in. So what you do is you'd use a dumbbell curl in the same way as normal. This time you would actually tie the band around either your wrist or around the actual dumbbell itself, and then you anchor that band in front of you, slightly down from the position that they're going to end up at the top, so it's just slightly downwards, and then you curl up from there. So obviously what happens then is you curl up, obviously you still have a little bit of not much going on at the bottom, load starts to incrementally increase, you get a maximal load here, and then as you start to come into this position here, because of the band starting to stretch out in front of you towards you, you're having to pull this way while you elevate up. So you're getting more of the short head and more of the brachialis in there as well. So obviously you're getting a much better inner range contraction of your biceps and your elbow flexors as well. So this is a way of getting around that issue. So like I say, you're tying a band in front of you slightly below, and then you're curling up right to the face and back down again. And of course you're getting just much more load this way, while you're still getting the benefits of the load of that gravitational load from the weight. So give it a try. We're going to discuss maybe a few other exercises on this as well, and there may be some videos that pop up showing you this practically too at various points in the future. So but that rounds that up today, and I'll catch you next time. We want to keep making great content for our subscribers, so if anyone would like to support the channel by making a pledge, then we would be extremely grateful, and you can do this on our Patreon page here.